Tom Taylor, Steve Pugh, and Clayton Henry pit Jonathan Kent against Lex Luthor as the villain returns to Metropolis to continue his villainous schemes, as well as continue his games with Superman. Tom Taylor is left in charge with bringing Lex Luthor back into the fold of the Superman books all the way from the Scott Snyder death metal Justice League run, and does it in a fantastic way that gives us the best of both worlds. We get a great flashback of classic Lex Luthor versus Clark's Superman, and exploring how the hero refuses to play the villain's game, which infuriates him. We then also get to see John's Superman and his first interaction with Lex while he is Superman, and it's a pretty excellent one, forcing them to kind of team up and for John to try and do things a little different and appeal to Luthor's quest for control of the people and of the future of Earth, in a way duping the villain into helping save the world from what the people are doing to it through climate change and other things. I also like that Lex is a little cooled when it comes to talking with John and interacting with him, and I have a feeling it's because the hero is half human and he's not the full alien like Luthor tries to kill all those years with Clark's Superman. So there's an interesting dynamic there that I'm looking forward to Taylor exploring in the Son of Kal-El ongoing, since it's made pretty clear that Lex Luthor is sticking around. Steve Pugh and Clayton Henry combine their talents for some fantastic artwork for the book, with Clayton tending to the flashback portion of the book with a really great Metallo Lex Luthor Superman beat 'em up, while Steve took the rest of the book and gave John a much needed haircut in the process, which in turn gives John's Superman profile a very Jose Luis Garcia Lopez style to it, which I quite like. Superman Son of Kal-El 2021 annual was a fantastic return of Lex Luthor to a more down-to-earth villain after his escapades in Justice League and Death Metal, returning to be a great threat for the new Superman to deal with, and exploring how John deals with the old villain and how their relationship is going to differ from Clark's and Lex's. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Superman Son of Kal-El 2021 annual heads to the past where Superman is beaten around the city by Metallo and Lex Luthor, pleading with the villains to stop this. Lex mockingly says that he can stop it but won't, having worked so hard to finally rid the world, and finally today is the day he kills Superman. Superman finds that great, confusing the villain as he stands up, unaffected by the kryptonite and knowing that they got all they needed. Batman arrives knowing that it's pretty damning evidence, as the confused Lex knows that he checked Metallo's kryptonite himself and it should be killing Superman. Metallo, however, is revealed to be an in-disguise Martian Manhunter who replaced Metallo 10 minutes prior when Wonder Woman took care of the cyborg. Batman says he recorded everything the villain said, and if he's masterminding the murder of a national treasure, then he should factor in his own gloating. The villain tries to blast Batman with his energy beams, but Superman takes the beam for himself, knowing that he doesn't think the way Lex does, and doesn't claim to be a genius, but doubling down on an attempted murder isn't the smart thing to do. Superman dismantles his warsuit, leaving Luthor to be locked up in prison. Sometime later, Lex is visited in prison by Superman, who wants to know where the welder linking him to Metallo's armor plating has gone, since he has fallen off the grid. Lex, however, wants Superman to sit for a game of chess, not knowing how to determine who will go first, since Superman's X-ray vision could allow him to cheat and find which hand he keeps the white piece in, and rock paper scissors is out given his super speed. Lex thinks of a number in his head, but Superman knows that he'll cheat, so Lex allows him to do that one. Lex guesses the right number, meaning he gets to go first. Superman has been thinking about what Lex wants since he has billions of dollars and has power, so it's obviously control. Lex wants Superman to make his move, but the hero refuses to, so Lex says he does want control, and he can't control much from the cell. Superman knows it won't be long until he is out and about and will be back to hurting people. So the hero makes a predictable chess move as he tells Lex that he can't understand him, and Lex knows, since he's an alien. Superman knows that with his mind he could be capable of so much more if he wasn't obsessed with controlling him, wanting him to imagine what they could do as a team. Lex had thought about that, since together they would have infinite mind and reach. The Warden comes by, telling Superman that Batman found the welder they were after, so the hero takes his leave, despite it being his turn in chess. Lex wants him to continue to play, but Superman says he's not playing his game since he can move in a way Luthor can't, since he can move outside the cell. The villain demands he not turn his back on him him and be a coward, as in the present, John scans the entire galaxy and universe looking for his father, returning to Lois and telling his mother that he can't find anything. He knows that Clark would have stayed if she told him to, but Lois knows that she wouldn't, since Clark isn't just hers, he's the world's, and she knew that when they married. There is a knock at the door and John finds that weird since it's Batman, figuring that the Dark Knight would just appear in the kitchen. Lois knows he did that once and he won't be doing it again, knowing they learned a valuable lesson that day about personal privacy and boundaries. She tells Bruce that John isn't joining the Justice League, but Bruce isn't there for that just yet. John offers him some tea, knowing there's always some about, since Alfred has always made sure to send fresh tea to every house he anticipated Batman would visit. Batman wasn't aware that his friend did that, as he shows John something Clark wanted him to have after he left Earth, showing him a sunstone crystal. John heads to the Arctic, where he finds most of the ice has melted. He finds a trapped polar bear, knowing that he can relate to being scared and alone. He notes how it's pregnant, helping it out onto solid ground near the Fortress of Solitude. He finds the bear some berries, but she is very picky, but John knows that they forage for berries if they have to, not wanting the bear to turn its nose up at it. He sits with the bear and watches the Aurora Borealis, knowing that she'll have to hunt for herself now, since he's Superman and he isn't going to go and club a seal. Heading inside, John puts the crystal in the interface and a hologram of his father appears. John learns from his father that he wanted him to have someone to talk to in the fortress and someone he can confide in, since even though his answers were infuriating, his own father's recordings were still a comfort. Clark says that he tried to anticipate all of John's questions and what he would ask the AI, so John asks his father where he is and when he's coming home. Clark cannot answer that, however, making John disappointed. Clark asks what's been happening on Earth, so John fills him in on the new bear friend Gale he made and how the ice around the fortress is disappearing, but John doesn't understand why more isn't being done. Clark thinks that the problem is that it's too big for people to grasp, or for others, it's too big to just face. John knows that there are people who just won't act, since the planet is changing and some of the most powerful people in the world are just pretending to be powerless to stop it. Clark agrees with him, but knows that they need to now talk about Lex Luthor, since he'll be back soon, and he doesn't want him hurting John, not wanting the boy to make the same mistakes he did with the villain. In Star City, Gotham, Bloodhaven, and various other places, packages arrive to various crime lords, having been sent by Lex Luthor. Package contains a tablet which Lex talks to them through, saying that this is a private conversation and their recordings will be disrupted. He tells them that the week before, the president of Coast City Bank died of a stroke, but a minute before he died, he had a meeting with Luthor, and the meeting did not go well. He notes how the package the people had nothing else but the tablet in it, but that's not true, since there was a completely untraceable murder in there, and if they run, they'll all be dead before they can open their respective doors. Luthor explains that the package included a nanite drone, which once the package was open, it entered the villain's head, and if they do anything he doesn't like, their blood and air supply will stop, and they will have a stroke, and the moment they die, the video screens they hold will become something more embarrassing and damning to their legacies. Luthor demands $1.7 billion from each of them, knowing that that's not an unreasonable amount since they are all worth much more than that. One of the criminals wonders if this is just an empty box, but Lex knows that it could be, but it's effectively Schrodinger's deadly brain nanite, and it both does and doesn't exist. But they all know what he's capable of, so he implores them not to hesitate. Mercy Graves tells her boss that the money is beginning to come in, told to funnel it to the usual channels as Lex plans to go and inspect his new building. Mercy asks if he really did kill the president of Coast City Bank, but Lex says that he just had a stroke, not answering her question about the deadly nanites. John and Lois meanwhile watch from their apartment as the new LexCorp building logo is put on Lex's new building. John can't believe a murderous criminal gets to stick his name on the tallest building in the city, especially when most of Metropolis know he's utterly corrupt. Lois knows that Lex doesn't have shame, and there are still people out there who believe his lies and others who genuinely admire him. Is that he ran a group called the Legion of Doom, and there isn't a lot of ambiguity there. Lois says she investigated it and he concocted a story about being mind controlled by Gorilla Grodd, which in turn bought him a full pardon for his crimes. John soon notices the building's shadow is cast over the Daily Planet deliberately, when suddenly the LexCorp sign explodes. John quickly tells his mother that he didn't do that, even though this does look bad. Superman rushes to save some people from the falling L as he spots robots blasting the building. They soon blast John as well, as he smashes into Lex's office, where the warsuit wearing Lex imagines that hurt a lot. Superman knows it didn't tickle, as he is told by Luthor that they are his robots and they are made to destroy the boy's father. John wonders why they're attacking Lex then, but the villain wants to find out once they are dealt with. John quickly tells Lex that this is not a team up, as the men blast the robots together, blowing them apart. After a few moments, the robots are all dealt with the final still functional one subdued so Lex can see who is behind this. The robot however stabs at Lex's head, breaking his shield, but Superman stops his arm, ripping it off as he asks what's happening with them. Lex says that this is why he should only use his own processes to build his defenses. He explains that recently he frustrated 3 of his competitors, and one of them manufactures some of the key components in his guard robots. He wants to invite John inside, but Superman knows better, since he would have many booby traps in there designed to kill Superman. Lex knows that's a valid reason for reluctance, telling John that he and his father were playing a game. John yells at the villain, saying that he caused untold misery and destruction, and he still thinks this is a game? Lex was actually talking about the game of chess they started, wondering if the boy plays. John doesn't, but Lex hopes that he can continue what Clark started. John thinks that he can, wondering what happens if he wins, but Lex knows he won't. John says that if he wins, he wants Lex to take down the LexCorp sign from the top of the building. Lex agrees, so John tells him he'll meet him on the roof in 10 minutes. After cleaning up the mess below, Superman joins Lex for the chess game, hoping that they can make it fast since he's got people that need a hero. Lex tells John that he and his father got off on the wrong foot, hating the hero, but it's possible he could have used him despite the danger he posed to the world. Superman knows that his father was no danger and that Lex isn't stupid and knows the actual danger the world is in. He says that he believes that there are some who don't help because they don't think they'll be around to experience what could happen. Lex agrees with him, but John knows that Lex would find a way, be it by building a new body or transplanting his consciousness into a 12-foot tall automaton or something. Lex doesn't think he'll use a 12-foot tall automaton, but John knows his point is that he'll still be there when the world changes, and he's not stupid enough to think that rocketing off and terraforming another planet is the answer, especially when the world they have is a miracle planet. He tells the villain it's in his self-interest to help the world, knowing the villain loves taking control, but he could use his intellect, power, and resources to improve the future of the planet with billions of lives in his hand. John checkmates Lex, telling him it was thanks to his little horsey. Lex demands to know how John did that, so John reveals that he had a full 7 minutes after helping clean up the streets to learn all about chess, reading every book he could in the Metropolis library and even some of Lex's own publicized games. He says that he saw which attack he was dealing with and knew how to counter it thanks to playing the game in slow motion, meaning Lex could never have won against him and he should have played with more caution, but he didn't since he underestimated the young hero. John hopes that he'll think about saving the world, and Lex begrudgingly says he will, and he will take down the sign. Superman takes off as the enraged Lex slams his fist on the table. Superman however returns with part of the sign, telling Luthor just to take the L. Later on, Lex is told by Mercy that Luca Maurice of Maurice Electronics was killed by a stroke. Lex knows that the man did something very stupid and he didn't look ahead at the ramification. He tells her of his interesting conversation with Superman, knowing the world needs saving, so he wants her to call up Henry Bendix, wanting to discuss the Rising with the president of Gomorrah.